guys, it's Brianna again. So this is my second video. I just wanted to talk a little bit about interviewing for schools, teaching English abroad. This is the open period of interviews for Thailand specifically. I know the next semester starts in October, so our school is currently hiring, and I'm sure that a bunch of other ones are as well. So I just wanted to go over some things that you should probably ask in the interview, some things you should look for. Average salary, things to expect, things like that, just so that you know what you're going into, because I know that I've met some teachers at certain schools, I won't use any names in these videos, but where they expected some really good things when they got here, and they realized that compared to others, they actually got a really, well, let's just say the short end of the stick. So, yeah, just to prepare you guys. So, I mean, training that they look for. In order to work in Thailand, you do have to have a university degree just for getting the visa. I mean, they say that this isn't 100% a requirement depending on what school, but most schools are required to provide, like you have to bring your degree with you. That's also a tip I'll include in my what to bring video, but please do bring your original university degree with you and any TESOL or TEFL certification that you might have. We thought that a photocopy was good enough, but it's not. You have to have the original degree. So yeah, you have to have a degree. If you do get a TESOL or a TEFL cert, you can do that through a lot of universities. We did ours specifically through Oxford seminars, and it was just a 3-week course or a 3-weekend course. So we did 6 days of in-class training and then 40 hours of online training. So it worked out to be a 100-hour certification. But our school actually offers their own global TESOL cert, so I mean, it wasn't necessarily a requirement that we had it, it just kind of helped us out. But when we got here, we were able to do a specialization course, which is awesome. Or if you don't have the original TESOL, then they will train you here for free, which kind of saves you the money too. So it just depends on whether if you already have it or if you think it's worth it to get it, depending on what schools look for. I think it's a benefit to have it just because I wouldn't go into teaching abroad, especially if you've never taught before, without some kind of training in the first place. Yeah. Where to look, how to apply. I know for Oxford specifically, they actually had a great program set up where they had like recruiters set up to look for jobs for us. So we provided a resume to their standards, and then they sent it around, and then we got contacted by different schools who were interested in interviewing us. We did actually get our job outside of that through a family connection because someone else had taught abroad in our family before. But yeah, that's probably the easiest way to go. Otherwise, you could just Google it. Just look up different opportunities. There are tons. Speak to anyone who you know that has taught abroad before in the place that you're going to. If you'd like some more information about what we're doing here specifically, feel free to comment below, and I'll definitely tell you more about it. Yeah, I think there's tons and tons and tons of ways to get a job, and there's tons of jobs available. I know a lot of people have told me that they thought before coming here that it was really hard to get a teaching job, or there weren't that many opportunities. But specifically in Suratani, the town that I'm in right now, there are at least 7 or 8 schools that teach English, and they're always looking for teachers. So yeah, and I mean, it ranges from preschool and kindergarten to high school and college level. So it's pretty awesome. There's some good opportunities. Yeah, average salary in Thailand, I mean, compared to home standards, obviously is very low, depending on where you're coming from. But we make about in the range of 30 to 40,000 baht, depending on what school you work at. And also depending on whether your accommodation is included or you have to pay for it yourself. It varies according to school. But so say minimum end 30,000 baht a month. That should be the base salary that you look for. If they offer anything less than that, I would turn that down. 30,000 baht is about $1,100 Canadian. I think I don't really know what that is in US. Pretty close. Yeah, so I mean, it's not a lot at home, but here you live like royalty. You make way more than a lot of people here. I mean, Suratani is kind of a richer city, so it's a little bit of an exception, but you can afford to do a lot. You can afford to travel on your weekends. You can afford to eat whatever you want to eat. You can afford to buy a moped or a motorcycle. You can get around. It's a lot of money here. We managed to save between the two of us at least 20 to 30,000 baht a month. yeah, so we basically live off one salary and then save the other one. So it's a good deal. Average hours for working. Our school's a little bit different. We have long weekends. We don't work Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We only teach 1 hour on Monday night. But we do teach after school as well as during school hours. So I usually teach like a couple classes during the day, and then I teach a class after school. So it's a little bit longer hours during the week, but like I said, we have an extra day off for the weekend. So I really love it because I only end up working 4 days a week. And for an extra hour at night, I mean, that's worth it to me. Other schools that will have you work 9 to 5, whether it's prep time or actual teaching time, you'll be there 9 to 5 Monday to Friday, which is pretty standard. Um, yeah, questions to ask during an interview. This is really, really important. I mean, even if you don't ask a lot of straight up questions, like it's gonna blindside you when you get here. I think you should definitely have a list of questions to ask them. Obviously, you're very curious about things, but you don't necessarily know what to ask unless you've done it before. So just to give you a little bit of clues, I just made some notes here. Ask whether or not you have to write lesson plans, because that is a huge time consumer. And if they expect you to write your own lesson plans, I mean, yes, you get the hang of it, and yes, now it's easy for me to do, but when I first got here, that is the most stressful part of teaching, because you have no idea how to write a lesson plan. You have to be very specific. You have to spend a lot of prep hours prepping your lessons in advance. Once you get used to teaching, I mean, you can kind of go in without one, or you can just kind of write like weekly plans for yourself, so it's a lot easier. But I know a lot of schools apparently don't make you write lesson plans. They provide them for you, which makes it a lot easier, because then everything's just handed to you and you can just work off that for sure. Yeah, okay, so training. Ask about training. Ours was a pretty in-depth training process, which was really awesome because we felt more prepared going into teaching, but we didn't get paid for those training hours. So we were already traveling for a couple weeks before we started, and then we were trained for a couple weeks. So like there was like a good month and a half, 2 months where we weren't paid. And that's just something to consider, because obviously you have to save money before coming here so that you have something to live off of when you get here. I mean, some schools only have 1 or 2 days of training. I mean, it just depends on what you're looking for, and if you've taught before, if you feel like if you need that training or not. But that's just something to ask about for sure. Accommodation. Obviously, I'm sure you thought of this. Accommodation. Is it included? What's it like? Will you be living with roommates? Will you not? Will you have to pay for bills, or are they covered? If accommodation is not included, will they help you look for accommodation? What are the average rent costs for accommodation, and how much extra do they pay you according to that? Because if you get paid 30,000 baht, but a house is included, that would be like 5 or 6,000 baht a month in rent or more. I mean, people are getting paid 30,000 baht and have to find their own accommodation, or even 35,000 baht and having to find their own accommodation. They might end up making less in the long run, just depending on, I guess, average rent in that area, and whether or not they help you with bills is a big thing. Bills aren't necessarily that expensive for us. I mean, we pay about 100 baht a month in water, which is about $4 Canadian. So we don't really have to worry about that. Our school covers our internet, which is great because that would be the most expensive. And then we pay about 1,000 baht in electricity, which is about $40 Canadian. So I mean, it's not terribly bad overall. So I mean, we knew that going into it, that they were going to help us with our bills, but that we were responsible for 2 of them. Health coverage. Are you covered? That is important. Do you need travel insurance or to extend your health care from home, or will they provide it with the school? Our school does provide health coverage, and it's pretty decent health coverage. If we have to go to the hospital for whatever reason or get medication, a lot of that is covered for us. I mean, medication here is very cheap anyway. If you need to buy medication, it's like $2 or $3 a lot of the time. I would recommend bringing your own like brands that you stick to and you like Advil or whatever. But I mean, they do have all that stuff here, and a lot of the pharmacists do speak English, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. They do have a high-end healthcare system here. They have a government hospital and a private hospital in Suratani specifically. And for us, because we have healthcare, we can go to the private hospital, so that's pretty great. What else? Flights and visas. Depending on where you're coming from, flights always vary. I would recommend looking on Priceline.com. Yeah, I've always found that to be the cheapest. I've scouted Flight Network. I've scouted pretty much every website you can possibly think of, and Priceline always is the cheapest. Um, but yeah, also like consider your layovers. We got stuck in Beijing overnight, which we really didn't want to happen. Make sure you have like at least 3 hour layover or so, because ours was 2 hours, but then we ended up missing our connection and just a mess. But anyway, I'm sure you're an experienced traveler. Visas. Um, Again, depends on where you come from. For us, we had a Thai consulate in Toronto in Canada, so it was easy for us. It literally took 24 hours. You just have to make sure you have all the documents that they need. You need a police check and passport and stuff. I can't remember exactly, but it's not too expensive and it's pretty easy to get, or at least it was for us. Um, in places that don't have a Thai consulate, that you can't get it at home, you will have to get it in like when you arrive here, but usually they'll send you to Penang in Malaysia. It's not too far from Surat, or like where we are in southern Thailand. That's the main hub of where you would have to go for a visa run. But yeah, just be aware of that. Ask them about that, about visas and when they expire. And usually you have to get a temporary 3 month visa from home first. So if you do that, or in Malaysia first, if you do that, make sure you time that accordingly to when your next visa will start, or else they might kick you out. So that would be that. Um, yeah, contract. Ask them about the contract. Is it binding? Obviously, how long you have to be there, holiday dates, sick days, pay. Ask about pay because, like, for us, we get paid for sick days, which is great. Can you take holidays whenever you want? No, but you do get 2 weeks of paid holiday throughout the year at specific times. So, I mean, it just depends on what you expect from them, obviously. Dress code. Is there a uniform? Do you have to wear your own clothes? Most of the time in Thailand, when you are working, I mean, all the time in Thailand, when you are working, you have to cover your shoulders. So, I mean, if you do have to wear your own clothes, then make sure you bring a lot of, I guess, lighter, dressier shirts that do cover your shoulders. Things that cover your knees, like if you're going to wear a skirt, that's fine, but it has to be knee length. They are a little more conservative here. We wear uniform shirts, but we had to provide our own pants, so we had to bring a lot of black bottoms, which is good to know, obviously, in advance. Everyone kind of told me it's easy to find clothes here, which it is and it isn't. It depends on what you're looking for. The sizes here are very small, and the mall is very expensive. I mean, secondhand stores are everywhere, and they're cheap, but it's kind of hard to find exactly what you're looking for. So I would bring anything specifically that you need with you. And just ask about general expectations. I mean, obviously, that seems pretty common sense, but yeah, just like what they're looking for in a teacher, what their values are in terms of their teaching style and their curriculum, and I mean, obviously, what they want out of their teachers personality-wise, I think is a big deal. And bank account setup. If I mean, our school took care of our bank account setup for us, which was so helpful. Having a Thai bank account and having our paychecks automatically cashed, it just made the process so much easier. I didn't have to worry about getting charged so much money every time I took out money out of my Canadian account. I just basically don't touch my Canadian account, and then I just live off my Thai account, and it just makes things so easy. So just make sure you ask if they take care of that for you. Other questions? I mean, class size, age preference. I mean, are you wanting to teach kindergarten? Are you wanting to teach high school? Different schools offer different things, and different companies obviously place you in different schools. So ask them about that. Some schools have classes of like 40 plus students, really big classes, and I know some teachers have struggled with that. Our school is pretty great because our max class size is like 26, 28 students. That's basically the same as home. But I mean, some after-school programs, like the after-school class I teach, is only 10 students. So, or you can teach private lessons or tutoring. So, I mean, it depends on what you're looking for again. Um, yeah, so those are just some questions I would ask. Like I said, average salary is between 30 to 40,000 baht. Maybe look that up and just compare it to your home currency. But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty cushy lifestyle. Teaching gives you everything you need. You get to travel on weekends. There's lots of places to go in southern Thailand, even in northern Thailand. It's so easy to get around here. It's beautiful, as you can see. Yeah, but stay tuned. I'm going to make some more videos specifically about southern Thailand, Suratani, what there is to do, where to travel, how to get a moped, what to expect about transportation, things you should eat, things you shouldn't eat, what to bring, all that stuff. So subscribe, guys, and feel free to comment any questions you might have, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks.